Good afternoon, everyone. Bill Rentschler alongside Sports Director Kevin Sjuts in the 1011 Now streaming studio. We have complete live coverage for you. Pre-game coverage of the 2023 Husker Spring Game. Team coverage, in fact. So, again, Kevin is joining me, obviously, here in studio. But we have Eddie Messel that's right now live in Memorial Stadium. Also, we have, again, a bird's-eye view of Memorial Stadium, as well as a bird's-eye view looking down Vine Street of Memorial Stadium. So, Kevin, we kind of have all of our bases covered.
That's pretty cool, huh?
It is pretty cool. We're going to obviously start here in studio with Kevin Sjuts, but it's been a little over a month since the first spring practice with Matt Rule, but we're finally here. Spring game.
Happy game day.
Happy game day.
And it kind of feels like a game day, too, because the temperatures are chilly for late April here. Matt Rule, I don't think he minds this one bit. He says that this team needs to learn how to win in the elements, Big Ten football. It's going to feel like a Big Ten kind of day. And, you know, this isn't just a spring game where Nebraska is going to throw a bunch of, you know, glitz and glamour out at the fans. It's going to be full-on
football game.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty fun.
I was driving in, and I think if you could have told me, hey, Minnesota's in town, it's late October, Big Ten West game on the line, and I would have believed you, but it's late April, kind of chilly, kind of breezy, but like you said, Matt Rule, I think, kind of likes it this way.
And not too long ago, the rosters were announced for the red-white game, and the white team is going to be very strong on offense. That's the ones offense. The red team will be the ones defense. They're going good on good, twos on twos. And if you're wondering who's on that white offense, well, Jeff Sims is going to be the starting quarterback. Heinrich Harburg is also in that group as well.
Okay.
I would expect Heinrich to maybe get some reps with the number one unit. As for the offensive line, that's one thing I was curious about. Just glancing at what they have announced right now, Bryce Benhart, Ethan Piper, Ben Scott, Nuri Nuili, and Turner Corcoran. I think those are going to be the 5 top offensive linemen. However, they will swing on both teams just because they're short on numbers. I believe 12 O-linemen are available for this game. That might be shooting high. And then some of the targets for Jeff Sims, the 2 top running backs, Gabe Ervin and Anthony Grant. And then his wideouts, Xavier Betts makes that cut, as well as Billy Kemp, the 4th. That's a transfer from Virginia. And Marcus Washington, is going to be one of the top wideout targets for the white team,
I'd say the offensive linemen, they'll be in gray jerseys. They won't be red or white, so that way they can kind of flip around as need be because of the limited numbers, like you said. Man, we have heard a lot about Gabe Ervin Jr. this spring. Coach is really high on him after, again, maybe kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit last year, been injured. I'll be really interested to see kind of those running backs. Again, a lot of praise from the running back room so far this spring from the coaches, but now we finally get to see football being played.
It's awesome. Only a few guys are out on the field right now. I believe it's just the specialists getting warmed up. The game starts at 1 o'clock. It'll be televised live on BTN. Let's go to Eddie Messel, who's down awaiting the full team to get on the field for pregame warm-ups. Eddie, I see you're bundled up.
Yeah, is it chilly down there on the field, Eddie?
I'm bundled up. It's a little chilly. It's like you guys said. I heard you guys talking about it. It feels like Big Ten football. It's normally not like this, in April. Expected to be a little warmer. I think last year I might have been in shorts for the spring game. My hair's blowing a little more. It's definitely a little cold. Got two jackets on. Like you guys said, right now, not a lot going on so far. We have a specialist out here. Brian Buscini's taking some punts. He's got that the new number this year, so that's something to look out for. But yeah, overall, nothing too crazy happening yet. Fans are starting to roll in. Again, the wind is picking up, but it did warm up a little bit when the Unity Walk was coming out. I think it was a little colder, so I think everyone feels a little warmer now. At least I do. I don't know if I've just gotten a little used to it, but overall, yeah, I think it's going to be a good day for some Big Ten football, guys.
And Eddie, Matt Rule mentioned that they're going to do things maybe a little different with the special teams. Have you maybe heard anything or seen anything that would indicate maybe what they're going to do with the special teams for the spring game?
I haven't heard anything yet. It hasn't, from the way they're practicing right now, it does not look like they're at least what he indicated. We haven't really seen much of that yet. Skylie's actually going to show you guys a little bit. Guys are running out here, so nothing that has indicated in terms of what the way they're practicing that anything's going to look too different for special teams. So as of what is going to be different from what Matt Rule said, we don't know exactly just yet. So hopefully we'll find out here hopefully we'll find out here soon. And as more guys start running out on the field, again, it's just a specialist right now. We'll hopefully be able to get some guys to talk to us, maybe some former players or anybody that's walking down here on the field.
And Eddie, obviously a huge part of this weekend thus far has been having Frank Solich back in town, being honored during halftime. They have changed up the field just a little bit in preparation for that. I don't know if Mason can hear me. Maybe he can zoom out. And there's an extra yardage number on the field for the spring game this year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and again, how great is it to have Frank Solich back? We were there for the press conference yesterday. I mean, it was so awesome just to see him back here. And I think the greatest part about Frank yesterday in that press conference was just how candid he was about, him not wanting to come back here for a little bit. It almost felt like he said himself he did not feel comfortable coming back really. So for him to come back, and he said he's just so happy to be here. And I think, what Trev said when we talked to him yesterday, he said the biggest thing on getting Frank back and convincing him to get back here was he wanted Frank to realize that this was for the fans, for a chance to thank them, or to thank him, and how much they really appreciate him. And I think he said once Frank kind of realized that was a big selling point on getting him back here, as well as Matt Rule, because him and Matt Rule have played each other in the past. They have a good relationship, and he said he's really appreciative of everything Matt Rule's done in terms of reaching out to him. So having Frank here is going to be a super special day here on Tom Osborne Field. Just some of the, greatest coaches, and Matt Rule's going to be super pumped for that. He said that's actually what he's looking forward to most today, outside of the football, is going to be Frank Solich getting honored. So really good stuff there.
Yeah, so the number 45, it is there on the field. Typically that's not a part of, the field format.
No.
It's just a yardage stripe, and it's not the number 45. They only have 40 indicated and 50, but 45 outlined in red, and that's for Frank Solich. He, of course, will be recognized at halftime of today's game, and I would presume he's going to get a standing ovation. Though we saw signs going up in downtown Lincoln, welcome back Frank, at the beginning of this week. Even the famed gas station Malakar's, which is right there, a quick corner around from Memorial Stadium. Usually they put up a prediction before every Nebraska football game. It's a popular tailgate destination and parking destination for a lot of families. But they even, instead of any sort of pregame prediction or anything like that, it's simple: welcome back, Frank. And for some people, they want to see Frank Solich more than watching Matt Rule's team play football.
100%. And again, a lot of fans, myself included, the way kind of Frank left a lot of bad taste in people's mouths. Just to see him back, it's a palate cleanser. And, people always have kind of talked about the curse that, after Frank left, Nebraska football has really struggled since then. And he said it yesterday. He, neither anyone in his family put any curse on the University of Nebraska football program. If they did, there would have been more people that were in trouble. But he said whatever could have been there is gone and is lifted. And so, again, I think a lot of folks just excited to see him out on the field.
Frank admits that he's struggling with retirement. He just has too much time on his hand, currently living in Boise, Idaho with his wife near their son. Their daughter lives in Lincoln and has this entire time. So he has been back to town, but never to a Nebraska football game. So this is his first time back inside Memorial Stadium for a game since his dismissal, controversial dismissal, which came back in 2003. And he was pretty he joked about that curse thing last night. He didn't know that his departure cast a spell on this program. And he said, if that, fictitious or not, it is gone now. And he's had a lot of glowing things to say about Matt Rule and the way that he's been embraced by Trev Alberts and Matt and this new coaching staff. And if you saw some of the videos that the University of Nebraska Athletics Department put out last night, there was a big celebration of Frank on the third floor of Memorial Stadium. Barry Alvarez was back in town. A lot of Tom Osborne was there, and a lot of the players that played for Frank Solich, and they mean a lot to him. And it's just going to be a really awesome scene to see Frank Solich get his due on the field at Memorial Stadium. That will occur at halftime of the spring game today.
So I think 60,000 tickets was the last I heard.
65. They upped it up to around 65,000 tickets.
So 65,000 tickets sold. Again, a lot of folks going to be there to see Frank. Really quickly, so offensive storyline for you, defensive storyline for you. We'll get it first from you, Kevin, and then maybe we'll pop in and see Eddie and see what he thinks.
Number one, offensive storyline. I'm going to give you two. Sorry, I can't limit it to just one.
That's
Number
fine.
one is Jeff Sims. See how the transfer quarterback from Georgia Tech operates in this offense. And is he going to be tackled to the ground? Because it is live tackling for the quarterbacks for the spring game. So that's storyline number one, is Jeff Sims and operating with the number one offense. Number two for this offensive storyline is the use of the fullback. Will it be regular? Will it be sporadic? And will the first play of the spring game be a handoff to the fullback? I wouldn't be surprised. And not that Matt Rule needs to win over the fan base. I think he has, just over everything that he has done and said since his hiring back in December. Will they use the fullback, and will the first play be a belly dive?
I would say, because
oh my goodness,
Frank Solich
Could
did
you
mention
imagine?
that in his press conference yesterday, that Rule was incorporating the belly option in kind of his scheme, so that will be interesting. Eddie, if you can hear me, we'll bring you back in here for a second. Eddie, I guess Kevin covered the offense. For defense for you, maybe what do you think is kind of the defensive thing that we need to watch today? A couple things to watch out for.
Oh, well, something to look out for on defense is just going to be, I mean, the DBs are just so deep this year. On times, a lot of returning guys. Malcolm Hartzog's someone to look out for. And I think Tommy Hill's going to be really interesting because last year, obviously, we had so much hype around Tommy Hill coming in, and then he had the issue where he went to receiver. Tommy Hill, though, I think is a really big storyline, as well as the rest of the DB room. Miles Farmer, Braxton Clark, so many guys. Omar Brown has really flashed this year, so I think that's a room to really look out for. And then also that edge room. A lot of guys in that linebacker room, because we lost some guys last year. Obviously, losing Garrett Nelson's a big thing, but you get guys coming in like MJ Sherman. He has looked everything about the part coming in. So I think that linebacker room and the DBs are going to be something really fun to look out for. And you guys were talking about the offense. We'll show you here. Marcus Satterfield actually just walked out on the field, so he's out there. So the offense probably going to start coming out here pretty soon. I know Kevin said he mentioned Jeff Sims. I think that's going to be someone really fun to look out for today. So Jeff Sims, hopefully, in the offense, going to be coming out here soon. But the win, again, picking up a little bit.
But Eddie, MJ Sherman's your guy. This is the guy that Eddie throughout all of fall camp said, I can't believe how big this dude is.
Yeah, him. Well, I think, as far as we're talking offense and defense, a lot of those Georgia guys, Kevin, MJ Sherman and Arik Gilbert, I mean, the two of them, I mean, you put them next to each other, and they look, if we're just basing it off of who I would pick, and I don't know any of their talents, I'm probably picking those two guys to play a football game with. So the two of them, those two Georgia guys, they've gotten a lot of hype, from the coaches. The coaches have really showed a lot of love for all them this year, or in fall camp so far, or spring camp, excuse me. So, again, yeah, MJ Sherman's kind of my guy. I got a lot riding on him this year. I think he's going to be really fun to watch. He's going to be a good addition to that defense.
Eddie, are you getting anxious right now? I feel like we're under 50 minutes from kickoff, and guys aren't on the field. I want to see the dudes on the field warming up.
I know. I'm getting a little anxious. I saw Satterfield walk out here, and I was like, oh, the boys are going to come. The boys are going to come. But yeah, nobody's still out here. The specialist's still kicking a little bit. Tony White is also out here. Skyler will show you there a little bit. So the offensive defensive coordinators, they have officially stepped foot on the field. So yeah, I think everybody in the crowd's getting a little anxious. Like I said, starting to fill in a little bit. Also, Skyler will give you a little pan of the crowd here as well. So the crowd's starting to fill in. Everybody's getting their seats, but yeah, I think everybody's a little anxious because again, it feels like football. Where else in the world or in the country does everyone get this excited for a spring game? So it is game day. Nebraska football tweeted out today it's game day. I'm a little anxious. Everyone here is. So hopefully, yeah, again, these guys are going to come out soon. We'll get a look into the first look of these guys all in pads on Memorial Stadium with fans in attendance.
Awesome, Eddie. All right, well, we'll let you go here for just a second. We're going to, again, we'll keep an eye. If the offense runs back out on the field, we'll come back to you.
We want to show you Jeff Sims.
We do want to show you Jeff Sims.
He's a big guy. He's a thick guy, and he's going to run, Bill. And, of course, we can't leave out Casey Thompson. Very, very limited.
He'll be on the headset, though.
Never went through a full practice during spring camp because he had shoulder surgery. But the coaching staff just raves about Casey and the way he loves football, one of the first guys in the building, one of the last guys to leave, studying film, learning the playbook, mentoring the other quarterbacks and other offensive players at the University of Nebraska. Yeah, so we can't leave out Casey Thompson. I wouldn't be surprised if he's calling some of the plays.
Yeah, no, it sounds like during practice, Rule's done a lot of situational stuff. Sounds like even almost for a lot of the spring game, they're just going to kind of let the players kind of call plays a little bit here and there and put them in those situations.
Hey, the boys are actually going to take the field
There
here
we go.
about 45 minutes prior to kickoff. At least this is some of the group. As we mentioned previously, gray jerseys indicate offensive linemen. It looks like that's also special teams members. We see Big 62. That's the Arizona State transfer, Ben Scott. He's been nicked up a little bit during spring camp. But this is a guy they're probably counting on to get a starting role this year. Ton of experience. He's played in over 30 collegiate games over his career. And, man, it sounds like the coaching staff really loves him. A little shoulder bump with Ben Scott and Jeff Sims. There he is, number 14, the number 1 quarterback for the spring game. And Donovan Raiola, the assistant coach, right there with Ben Scott and Jeff Sims. He's the only holdover from the previous staff. And, man, this offensive line unit really loves the fact that their position coach stayed on staff so the terminology can stay consistent. And, of course, they don't have to prove themselves. They're not ground zero with this new staff because they have the guy that knows their strengths, their weaknesses, and what their potential may be.
And, Kevin, one of the big things for this game, Rule said it on Thursday, this is a work day for them. They're still a 4-8 team. They have to earn the right to, talk about winning. And, spring games over the past couple of years, probably weren't all that enjoyable for fans in the stadium when you're playing kind of two-hand touch or doing thud. This is, a work day for them. Okay. They are going to tackle to the ground. Quarterbacks are going to be live. I think we're going to see some good football.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but, since you said the way that I've approached some of these spring games, I remember one of the games probably about 3-4 years ago, the biggest storyline out of Nebraska's spring game was the student that got to come on the field and caught a punt and earned a ton of money. I forget what it was, whether it was toward his tuition or a gift card to Shields or something like that. But that was one of the big storylines out of Nebraska's spring game was a student that caught a punt.
It's much different
And then there was a throwing contest one year where Kenny Bell hit the goalpost from like 45 yards out.
Didn't they have offensive linemen catching punts too?
Yeah, so the spring game has run the gamut, and sometimes there's been goofy scoring where the defense got points for forcing a fumble and then the one-hand touch, as you mentioned it. So this is totally different. It'll actually be football today, and that's exciting to know. See Casey Thompson on the field right now. He was taking a few snaps and throwing a few light passes. Just to the left of Jeff Sims there is Heinrich Harburg. So the QB's getting loose. Man, they're going to need to be loose and fresh because, they're live. They're not wearing the green jerseys right now, Bill. They're going to be tackled today.
I see no green jerseys on the field right now. It's all gray, red, and white. So, I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to watch some football. So, again, we're going to wrap things up here. We're going to have, obviously, full coverage of what's going on. The game kicks off in about 40 minutes or so. It's going to be live on BTN. Obviously, the big thing is, other than the football, Frank Solich will be honored at halftime. And so we're going to try and bring you video of that as soon as we can. So you folks can see that online. And then we're obviously going to have complete coverage post-game. I'm assuming we'll hear Rule and coordinators and probably a few players as well. So we're going to have all of that coverage after the spring game, and then obviously complete coverage tonight at 6 and tonight at 10. And we'll be back here on the streaming desk probably around 7 o'clock or so to kind of break everything down for today. So
I think you needed to make your own graphic of, we know the University of Nebraska's schedule of events.
Yes.
The 10-11 schedule of events. We got the pregame show, games at 1. We're going to be sending out a bunch of stuff on social media platforms. The postgame news conference, we'll have that up as soon as it is complete. 6 o'clock coverage. Eddie's going to be live. We'll have the highlights. We'll have the report from the players and all, and then we'll be right back here breaking down the spring game. And hey, this is going to be fun.
It's going to be a
great day of talking football in April.
100%. All right. Kevin, appreciate it. Eddie can't hear me right now, but Eddie, appreciate him. Appreciate everyone for tuning in, for watching. Again, you got about 40 minutes left if you need to order a pizza or get some food ready to sit down and watch that spring game. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Like I just said, we'll have complete coverage on air, online, so keep it tuned to 10-11. Hope everyone has a nice Saturday, and I'll throw in a Go Big Red there. All right. Have a good one.